Hello, everyone, and welcome to True Tales of Terror. Today's tale, number 8, is called Veryovkina Cave. It follows one man and his ill-fated adventure into the cold, dark depths of our planet. Veryovkina Cave is the second deepest cave currently known. First discovered in 1968, close to Mount Krapos, in the Graga mountain range, located in the country of Georgia. The first team to enter Veryovkina Cave made it to 115 meters, or 377 feet, and established its first permanent camp, called S-15. Subsequent caving teams made several more expeditions into its depths in the following years, progressively mapping it as they descended. In 2018, a team reached what is currently agreed to be its lowest depths, mapped to 2,213 meters, or 7,257 feet. Veryovkina is no normal cave. Its extreme depth, temperature, and humidity are only side notes to its deadly nature. Accessing the cave entrance requires advanced climbing techniques. You cannot simply walk into Veryovkina Cave. It is not easy to locate, and a mountain must be climbed to access its entrance. Once there, a belay system must be set up in order to make the first rappel through its deadly vertical entrance. Almost entirely a vertical cave, until 2,000 meters, where extensive horizontal shafts appear near the bottom. The cave can flood, and even with its extreme depth it can quickly fill with water, and semi-dry shafts can quickly become a watery grave. When the water starts, giant rushing waterfalls descend its depths. Massive underground chambers at its bottom, where the shafts start to go horizontal. There are underground chambers, some in excess of 8 soccer fields in size, and contain rare species of shrimp, centipedes, and scorpions only found in Veryovkina Cave. You cannot simply leave this cave if disaster strikes. It takes 4 days to descend its depths, and equal to exit. Camps have been set up at several locations to facilitate camping. On August 3rd, 2021, a rope was found leading into Veryovkina Cave, an ominous sign. No professional caving team would ever leave a rope into any difficult caving system, never mind the deadly and dangerous Veryovkina Cave. The team descended into its depths and found items not left behind from them. There were signs that someone had been at the first permanent camp, wrappers and trekking poles, human waste, and other clues that somebody had entered Veryovkina Cave, and the rope told a tale that whoever had come in had not come out. Sergei finished packing his car and went inside. He said his goodbyes and kissed his wife, their daughter clinging to his leg. He got in his car and started his journey. Sergei was no stranger to adventure and had many solo trips under his belt. He had trekked into the mountains and even several caves in the area. 37 years old, Sergei told his wife he was searching for the meaning of life, adding that he would be gone for roughly 1 week. Nobody but Sergei knew where he was headed. He had followed the exploits of the caving club and researched what was available, drawing up several maps and saving information on his phone. Knowing what he did, it is still a mystery why Sergei decided to continue through and enter the monster known as Veryovkina Cave. Sergei drove his car to the base of the mountain and gathered up his supplies. He had climbing gear, ropes, harnesses, clips, and carabiners. He had enough supplies for the hike anyway, and set off up the mountain trail alone. Hours passed. It's a long trek to the entrance, but soon Sergei had arrived. One can only imagine what Sergei was thinking as he peered into its depths. By no means was Sergei a professional, and he broke several rules right out of the gates. First, he told nobody where he was going. Second, he never received permission to enter the cave system, and this is a requirement. And lastly, third, nobody should ever enter any cave system alone. Sergei should have turned around and left, realizing he didn't have the proper gear to be inside the depths of the Veryovkina Cave. The cave stays at a near freezing temperature of 3 to 4 Celsius, or 37 to 39 Fahrenheit. A dry suit is needed to probe its depths, and in order to leave this monster, advanced climbing techniques and gear are required, neither of which he had. One can only consider that Sergei never meant to leave Veryovkina Cave. Sergei stayed at the first permanent camp for several days, as the caving team that found his rope had reported the physical signs of activity. The gear they had left was disturbed, and much of the dry provisions had been used. Not sure what to think, the speleological team pushed further, just as Sergei had, alone. Did Sergei realize too late that he didn't have the stirrups? Vast vertical shafts can be relatively easy to descend. It's a simple setup and doesn't require much skill to rappel down a rope. What isn't easy is climbing back up. Anybody that's climbed a rope in gym class knows this. You can only go so far with upper body alone, and some of the vertical shafts are hundreds of feet straight up. Nothing to grab or hold, just the rope. This is when stirrups become essential. As the climber ascends the rope, the stirrups are fastened and moved as you climb, giving the climber a place to put their feet and taking the strain off of the upper body. Sergei must have realized this and searched fruitlessly for stirrups, or even webbing that could be used as an emergency stirrup. None was to be found, and like the speleological caving team, Sergei made the decision to descend deeper into Veryovkina Cave. He had maps, and he knew there were more permanent camps set up throughout the depths of the system. Finding nothing of use, Sergei made the next descent. Maybe at the next camp he could locate the equipment he needed to leave. When a speleological team enters this cave, there are massive systems set up for comms and lighting. Sergei only had his headlamp and dwindling batteries. He continued on, possibly driven by the possibility of locating the gear he desperately needed, or driven by madness. Sergei had already been underground for over a week. The hollow echo of the cave, its freezing temperatures slowly sapping his energy and rational thinking. Unable to traverse the rope he had descended, Sergei must have felt the weight of being trapped. Once past a depth of 800 meters, the cave literally starts killing you. If you lack the required equipment needed, possibly driven by the knowledge of the permanent camps, Sergei descended deeper, reaching a depth of 1,100 meters. Sergei's wife contacted the local authorities and reported her husband missing. although nobody knew where he had gone or where to look. That is until the rope was discovered leading into Veryovkina Cave and Sergei's belongings at the first permanent camp. It was clear that whoever had entered had not left. Nobody knows what happened in Sergei's last moments, only that he continued to descend Veryovkina Cave at his peril, perhaps in the hope of finding the gear he desperately needed to leave, or possibly Sergei never meant to leave Veryovkina Cave. The team that found the rope continued into the depths, and at 1,100 meters, or 3,608 feet, they located Sergei's frozen remains, slumped over and still attached to the lead descent rope. A massive team was assembled, and a reciprocating saw was deployed. Sergei's body had to be minimized in order to retrieve it, and the team methodically cut, packaged, and removed them until finished. Did Sergei find the meaning of life he was searching for? Was that meaning only found in death? We may never know. Why Sergei put himself into such a dire and deadly scenario. My heart truly goes out to his wife, family, and friends. That wraps up another true Tales of Terror. Thanks for watching.